For everyone you meet is fighting a harder battle. Plato. Hi everyone, for those who don't know me, my name is Rahma Sekar Andini, usually called Andini, and today I'm going to be talking about a topic that I will never stop talking about to anyone and everyone, anywhere and everywhere. Mental health. Lately, mental health has become a hot topic, and almost everyone is talking about it. And that makes me so happy to know that people are finally opening their eyes and acknowledging the presence of mental health, realizing the severity of it all. It's a huge break. However, we cannot stop here. It's just not enough. Still, all over the world, people are regarding mental health as something of lesser importance, and mental illnesses aren't taken seriously. People say, it's fine, it's all in your head, when really that's exactly the problem. Mental illnesses are in our head, but that doesn't make it any less severe to any other physical illness that you may contract, since first of all, you can't see it. But second of all, quite possibly, you don't understand how to explain it very well. And yet it's still there, slowly degrading you to nothing. Now when we're talking about mental illnesses, there's a lot to talk about really. However, in this video, we'll just be going over one. Just one small illness out of so many in this world. Literally, it's just 3 syllables long. However, it's managed to rob 264 million people of their lives. Quoted from WHO. Depression. Now, if you look up on Google or find out what it means, depression, it will tell you that it's classified as a mood disorder. It may be described as feelings of sadness, loss, anger, and affects a person's day-to-day activities. However, it's important to note that feeling down at times is completely normal and a regular aspect of living. Sad and upsetting moments happen to everyone. However, if you're feeling down or hopeless on a regular basis, then you might actually be going through depression. You see, depression isn't just about being sad. Rather, sometimes it's not even about sadness to begin with. It's more like an unbelievable amount of stress and dread, feeling lost and alone, wanting to go home to escape, but then realizing that you already are at home, and yet the feeling doesn't go away. So what does depression feel like? Imagine your body as a plane or a car, but it's on autopilot. And you're there, but you're sitting in the back seat just watching as everything moves forward. Your body is continuing to doing its day-to-day activities out of pure habit, but you're not in control. You're just merely watching. Imagine a daily nightmare lasting from the moment you wake up to the moment you fall back asleep, happening on repeat. Imagine having no energy or desire to do anything in life anymore. Everything you used to do feels like a chore. It doesn't feel right. You feel so useless, like a pointless waste of space. You feel like a burden to those people around you, and thus you either avoid everyone and fall into a pit of loneliness, or you harm yourself trying to please other people just so they don't leave you alone. You wonder why you even bother with life and start questioning why you're even alive to begin with. And you start wishing you were buried 6 feet under in a wooden box as if that's the only thing that could give you comfort. Living with depression is like living with a body that struggles to survive, but with a mind that so desperately wants to die. When you're depressed, everything that's so entertaining just feels like a distraction from what you're really feeling. And you can see that people love you, but you just can't feel any of that love. That is what depression feels like. Now, from that explanation alone, you could already tell how bad and severe depression is. But yet, some people in society still do not believe that depression is real, and they think it's just a decision that we make in life and that we chose to be all sad and depressed and down all this time. And it's especially common for people of society to judge you and berate you just for having depression. A clear example of this can be seen quite recently on an Indonesian TV show called Indonesia's Next Top Model, where one of the contestants actually opened up about her previous depression and yet got shot down by one of the judges. He told her that a woman like her, who's tall, beautiful, sexy, having depression would be an insult to the street vendor in front of his house. This led the model to blame herself and say that maybe she just wasn't strong enough back then. This is the reality of our society, and it's disappointing to say the least. It's essentially disregarding someone's feelings and telling them they're not worthy of feeling those things. Therefore, as a person with depression, we feel like we shouldn't feel as depressed as someone who might have it worse than us. And even though we're going through so many things, so many struggles, we don't deserve to feel depressed. Therefore, we just feel frustrated and angry that we feel so sad, and yet we're still depressed. You know what makes it worse? The fact that we're unable to say, I'm depressed, without feeling guilty about it. We're not able to openly talk about our depression to anyone because we have a certain power or status or privilege. Therefore, we blame ourselves for feeling depressed and for not seeing the happiness around us. We blame ourselves for not being able to feel happy. We feel so pathetic that we're not able to feel a certain way. And this stigma, prejudice, is what leads people with depression to not seek for help. Now, when a person suffering from depression chooses to bottle up all their emotions inside and not seek for help, things get a little bit problematic. A lot of things can actually go wrong. First of all, depression symptoms such as lack of energy, the lack of strength to move around and do certain things, mood swings, and the tired feeling that constantly lingers around may actually be a physical illness that shares the same symptoms as depression. So when you're feeling these symptoms and you feel like that's depression, and then you feel fear of getting it checked out because of the prejudice that may be put upon you, it may actually lead to unwanted incidents such as stroke, heart failure, the development of brain tumor leading to brain cancer, and that is very dangerous. Other severe mental illnesses, such as schizophrenia for instance, may actually have a symptom which is depression. So when a person doesn't get their depression checked out, if they have schizophrenia, that will also not be found until it is too late. And finally, most severe of all, when a person with depression doesn't seek for help at all, it may lead them to self-destruction. You see, when we're unable to express our thoughts and our feelings, we trap ourselves in this dark room that we've created, constantly feeding negativity on a regular basis, and it may lead someone to lose themselves. Now, I don't even want to begin talking about what happens when a person loses themselves, because at this point, I'm pretty sure we already know. Therefore, seeking for help, even just from one friend or family, is essential, but so hard to do, given the current circumstances. So what do we do? How do we help? Well, one thing's for certain, dealing with depression becomes especially difficult when the environment around you barely helps you and acts as if your depression is non-existent. So that's what we need to change. So first of all, we need to learn to accept depression and understand that a person can go through these intense feelings. On that note, anyone can go through depression, no matter who, no matter what money they have, no matter how rich, no matter how famous, no matter how successful, or what kind of privileges they have. Anyone can go through a state of depression. Because we don't know the struggles that people have. We don't know what path they're walking on, and everyone has their own problems. So it's not right for us to judge someone because of who they are if they have depression. So keep that in mind. Next, never, and I mean never, shut a person down when they're talking to you about their depression. Because the fact that they told you means that they trust you, they chose you, and they need your help. So please, accept them. Saying, don't be silly, you're just overthinking, is the worst possible thing you could even say or think to a person suffering from depression. On that note, don't give half-hearted, toxic, positive comments. Because you see, the thing is, with people suffering from depression, they cannot feel the happiness around them. So when you shove the positivity in their faces, it's not doing anything. Saying, just cheer up, there's so many things to be happy about. To a person with depression is the same thing as saying, just breathe, there's so much air around you. To someone who's suffering an asthma attack, it's just not possible. Instead, try to change your language and say, I understand you feel this way and it's okay. I will support you through this. I'm here for you. I still love you. No matter what happens, I'll always be here for you. These words of reassurance and affirmation verbally show your support, and especially when you're there for them. This goes a long, long way. You have no idea how much a person with depression is dying for those words and for your support. And finally, in every way possible, keep the conversation on mental health and depression alive. Spread the awareness, keep talking about it, preach it, tweet it, post it, publish it, and just show endless support offline and online in different communities. The more we talk about it, the more people who understand it, the more easier it is for someone with depression to open out, come out, and seek for help. Because they feel that finally people support them, there's a community for them, and people are not going to shun them just because of what they're feeling. This, I feel, is the bare minimum that we in society with no real power can actually do. Use our voice and speak. Speak loud and clear, gather forces, and speak. Now, before I end my speech, I also have a few messages. For parents, I know you love your child. They're your pride and your joy. However, asking them to constantly be perfect may not always be the best solution. When your child opens up to you about their depression, please listen. Understand that it took all the courage in the world for them to tell you about this because they love you and they need your help. Don't shut the door on their love. Don't feel ashamed with them. It's not because they're ungrateful. It's not because they resent you. Remember, you love your child, right? Remember those 9 months you waited just to meet your beloved baby. Don't let your pride and shame over society break the bond that you have with your child. Listen to them, communicate, and when your child needs help, take them. Your child and their well-being is much more important than what society has to say about you. Finally, I don't know who's gonna be watching my speech right now, but to anyone who feels like they need a little pick-me-up, I will link a podcast channel by an actual therapist in the description box down below that's called Therapy for Teens, since I know personally that therapy for teenagers especially is so expensive and so scary given the certain prejudice inside of society, right? I think this channel is quite helpful for you to understand depression, mental health, and also yourself in general. And I would also like to attribute my speech to several other YouTube videos, which I will also link down in the description below. And finally, a huge thank you to all my friends on Instagram for sharing their opinions, experiences, and struggles with depression, giving me suggestions and advice, so that I can finally compile this speech. Massive thank you to you all. To end my speech, I'd just like to stress again the importance of your voices and support. Remember that anyone can go through depression, and it's not wrong for you to feel this way. Find the courage and will in you to seek help. You deserve to be happy. Treat everyone with the kindness that they deserve, because you never know what a person may be going through. When someone trusts you, accept it, respect it, and support them. Finally, depression is a battle, but you deserve to win, because you deserve to be happy. Thank you.